What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. I cover political news, and today, folks, I've got a story for you. We've got one unraveling as we speak. This is the reason why I've started doing YouTube. This is the whole reason that got me into politics right here, and I am so lucky to be involved in this active hoax unfolding as we roll. Check this out, you guys. Yes, this is why I do this. I'm loving it. Let's get it, y'all. Army says Arlington National Cemetery worker was pushed aside by Trump aides, right? Like, the way they're portraying this is kind of like...
This is him at Arlington Cemetery. He's in a space that the Pentagon says Arlington says he's not allowed to be in with a camera for political purposes. The family did invite him in there, but the family of the other grave, the man who was in the other grave that also got photographed, is upset. They don't want to be a part of a political campaign. And there are veterans that are certainly fans of Donald Trump, but there are other veterans who say this is too much, it's too far. And now there's news from the Pentagon that there was a physical altercation, that one of the Arlington employees, a woman, was shoved, they say, by a Trump campaign aide. Shoved, physically assaulted.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, obviously, we're trying to figure out what's going on here, but I mean, it's an outrage. It's an outrage in the same way that, look, this is hallowed ground. This is not where political things, let alone, calamitous ones like this are supposed to take place.
You love how they use physically assaulted. Oh, yeah, these people, this is sacred ground, blah, 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 right? Wait, well, just, spoiler alert, no. No, not at all. That is not what happened. We don't really know what happened because nobody was there. Apparently, the Trump team has a video of this. They haven't released it yet, so we're going to see what happened. But for now, the mainstream narrative machine is covering this like a Trump aide just shoved this lady right out of the side. But we're going to read the news, and we're going to find out what really happened because we can put all the pieces together and logically deduce this out. And, yeah, it's not how everything seems. Let's get into it right fast, though, y'all. The U.S. Army said an employee at Arlington National Cemetery who tried to ensure adherence to the rules that prohibit political activities at the cemetery was abruptly pushed aside, but that the employee decided not to press charges against the Trump campaign staffers who allegedly pushed her. Now, right off the top, they try to sew this little narrative into your brain right quick that what the Trump campaign was doing there was politically motivated. That's what they're trying to do by saying, well, they can't film anything at Section 60 of the Arlington Cemetery. We don't allow any political events at the cemetery. Well, hang on. What was Trump doing there? Was it political in nature? Or was it human in nature, as a matter of fact, right? He was going there to honor the dead service members that Joe Biden had killed, right? That's what he was doing there. Did Joe Biden go to show up right? I was going to cover this, but so many other outlets were covering this story. I decided not to because I'll try to get you guys news that you're not going to hear about from these other places, right? Like, I scan these people and try to cover news that nobody else is covering. So at least you get something different when you come to me. But this is an active, so I didn't cover that. But this is an active unfolding hoax as we speak. So yeah, I want to cover it to get it out of the way. All right, so they're trying to sew that little piece of information into your brain right quick that Trump was there for politically motivated reasons. Right now, if we're being honest, yeah, sure, it was partially politically motivated, but the ceremony itself was not. It's not political at all. So they can actually get away with saying and be honest that they weren't there for purely political reasons. They were there to honor the service members that were killed at Abbey Gate. That's what they were doing. Now, let's keep going, just so you don't get fooled by the hoax. Because, once again, that's the whole reason why I'm doing YouTube. Is because I got fooled by the hoax after hoax after hoax after hoax about Trump. And it pisses me off. The statement Thursday comes in response to NPR's reporting on former President Donald Trump's visit to Arlington and an altercation his staff had with a cemetery employee. Participants in the August 26th ceremony and the subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws Army regulations and DoD policies, which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds, the statement said. An ANC employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside, consistent with the decorum expected at ANC. This employee acted with professionalism and avoided further disruption. The incident was reported to the JBMHH Police Department, but the employee subsequently decided not to press charges. Therefore, the Army considers this matter closed. Now, what they're trying to paint this picture that the Trump team was just going over here and this employee was like, oh, well, they're not supposed to have cameras here for politically motivated reasons, and goes up to them and politely, right, like they didn't say that, but that's what it sounds like, politely asked them not to do this, and they were shoved aside. Oh, this is great, y'all. But what we're going to do, we're going to go through the corporate press narrative first, and then I'm going to break that corporate press narrative down with facts. Let's go, y'all. The Army in its statement called the incident unfortunate, adding, "It is also unfortunate that the ANC employee and her professionalism has been unfairly attacked." Hang on, who was attacked here? I'm just saying, hang on. It's just funny how they word this stuff, right? The statement comes a day after Trump shared a TikTok video including footage from Arlington National Cemetery that likely violates a federal law against using military cemeteries for campaigning purposes. Once again, sowing that little narrative that they're putting this video out for campaign purposes and not just for remembrance purposes. Right? Like, just because he's involved in a campaign doesn't mean he stops being a human. Doesn't mean that all of his activities are politically motivated, for crying out loud. Right? He was the president at one point, tasked with going to these places, laying the wreath down for fallen soldiers, right? Presidents do stuff like that all the time. Now, you know, the argument is how come Joe Biden wasn't here? How come Kamala Harris wasn't here? But I'm sure you guys have heard those arguments from right-wing politicians, right-wing pundits, right-wing people, blah, 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 right? Which is true. Joe Biden probably should have been there. Kamala Harris probably should have been there. You get it, right? That it's kind of messed up that they didn't, considering it was their hand that caused the death of those 13 service members. It's kind of messed up, right? Donald Trump, somebody who was just a plain old citizen at the time, decided to show up to honor these service members. Insane. Just insane. The level of bias that is going on in this. NPR reported Trump campaign staffers had a physical altercation with an Arlington National Cemetery staffer on Monday over the restriction, right? Once again, sowing that little narrative like it's fact. Like, yes, he was there for political purposes. These people are insane, y'all. The insane levels is mind-blowing. It is not the first time Trump has been accused of politicizing the military, right? Once again, not the first time he's been accused. He could be accused of anything at any time, by the way. Just because there's an accusation doesn't mean it's true, right? He's accused of all kinds of crap, right? Like, he's accused of calling people that died in World War II, or World War I, suckers and losers, right? Biden says that all the time, but that's not true. We know that's not true. As a matter of fact, Biden says, Trump says there's going to be a bloodbath. Politically, like insinuating that there's going to be political violence all over the place. But we know that's not true. He was talking metaphorically in the auto industry. Why would Biden be worried about a bloodbath, right, from Chinese cars? Why would he get out there? Well, Trump says there's going to be a bloodbath. Why are you making that statement? Because Trump was talking about Chinese cars being sold in the United States. Talking about China flooding our market with cheap electric cars. It would be a bloodbath if he doesn't get elected. It'd be a bloodbath for our automakers. Huh? Why would Joe Biden say that? He's lying. He's insinuating to people that Trump is going to have his lackeys, as they would call it, regular people, commit some sort of political violence against everybody if Trump doesn't get elected. That's the insinuation. That's what the corporate press does. That's what this article is doing. And once again, I'm just here to point it out, y'all. That is all. But the campaign is seeking to downplay what happened in the aftermath. Yeah. Trump was at Arlington Monday to commemorate the third anniversary of an attack in Afghanistan that killed 13 service members amidst the disastrous withdrawal of troops. Trump and other Republicans have blamed President Biden and Vice President Harris for the chaos and loss of life. Well, it was their fault. Joe Biden was the commander-in-chief. So, is the corporate press trying to say that it wasn't their fault? No, they're not actually saying that. But once again, they're just saying that Republicans are saying this as if they're not saying it at all. Even though it's a fact of reality that can't be denied, by the way. The 21-second video posted on Trump's TikTok account shows the former president laying a wreath at the top of the unknown soldier and several snippets of Trump joining Gold Star family members at grave sites and their loved ones in a part of the cemetery known as Section 60. We lost 13 great people. What a horrible day it was, Trump says over the somber music. We didn't lose one person in 18 months, and then they took over the disaster, the leaving of Afghanistan. He's right about that. But the Trump campaign was not authorized to film or photograph in Section 60. Federal law prohibits the use of military cemeteries for campaign events, and 2 campaign staffers got in a physical and verbal altercation with the Arlington staffer who tried to prevent the filming. Okay, no, now this is the third time that they're trying to press this into your brain. Right? Trump was here for political reasons. That's what they're trying to tell you. But once again, like we broke down earlier, just because he is running a campaign doesn't mean that everything he does is related to that campaign. He doesn't stop being a human because he's running for president. He didn't go there for a campaign event. He was invited there by the Gold Star families, as a matter of fact. Now, we're going to get into the breaking this down and debunking the hoax that is playing out in front of our eyes right now. All right, so to break this down right quick and to debunk this active, ongoing hoax that we have unfolding in front of our eyes, we're going to go ahead and start out with a statement from Stephen Chung, who is a spokesperson for the Trump campaign. Check this out. Then we're going to break it down even further. An official with the cemetery tried to physically block members of Trump's team, according to Stephen Chung, a Trump campaign spokesperson. The fact is that a private photographer was permitted on the premises, and for whatever reason, an unnamed individual, clearly suffering from a mental health episode, decided to physically block members of President Trump's team during a very solemn ceremony, Chung said in a statement. Okay, so this is getting into the physical altercation part of it, right? So, hang on. The lady, let's break this down logically. Okay, so from what the corporate press narrative is trying to, like I said earlier, it's trying to make it sound like this lady came up and tried to tell them, yeah, you can't photograph here, and they just shoved her out of the way. Because that's all they're telling us, is that she got shoved out of the way. She was trying to adhere to their rules. Right? Now, what this sounds like a Karen episode to me. It sounds like this lady came up and blocked their freaking path they're trying to go through, doing this ceremony, as a matter of fact. And an argument seems like it ensued. Hey, you can't have cameras here for political purposes. And they said, hang on, we're not here for political purposes, blah, 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 blah. And it sounds like she probably got deranged to me. Of course, this is my bias, so take this with a grain of salt. Sounds like she got a little bit out of hand, tried to take the camera from them, and there was a physical altercation between the camera. Now, my little rendition of that, I just made that up, to be honest with you. From looking at all the evidence, from looking at everything we laid out, right? It makes more sense that happened instead of just a Trump campaign staffer shoving somebody for no apparent reason, right? It probably sounds like this lady came up and was kind of deranged with Trump, right? They're not there for political purposes. But now, so let's get into the reasoning behind all this, right? So they're not supposed to be there filming for political purposes. Now, that is a very important detail. Once again, like I said, they're trying to make you believe that Trump was there for simply political reasons, and that's not necessarily the case. Now, does this have a political purpose? Yes, it does. It most certainly does. If the Trump campaign tries to say that politics played no role in them being there whatsoever, they're outright lying to you. Okay, so they know that this is going to play a political role. Absolutely. But were they there for political reason as the main reason that they were attending that event? No. As a matter of fact, because here we go. Here is a statement from the Gold Star families themselves. Check this out. We would like to express our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to President Donald Trump. Hang on. By the way, this was made after the fact. President Donald J. Trump for his presence at the recent Section 60 gathering honoring our children and their fallen brothers and sisters on the 3-year anniversary of the Abbey Gate bombing. The president and his team conducted themselves with nothing but the utmost respect and dignity for all of our service members, especially our beloved children. We had given our approval for President Trump's official videographer and photographer to attend the event, ensuring these sacred moments of remembrance were respectfully captured and so we can cherish these memories forever. We are deeply grateful to the president for taking the time to honor our children and for standing alongside us in our grief, offering us unwavering support during such a difficult time. His compassion and respect meant more than words can express. With sincere gratitude, David Hoover, Kelly Barnett, Christian Shamblin, Misty Rose, something, I can't really pronounce that. Foucault? I'm sorry. I apologize for mispronouncing that. Now, let's break all this down once again right quick. So, this to me sounds like the corporate press and the mainstream narrative machine is just trying to hoax everybody. That's what it sounds like. They were there. They had permission from the Gold Star families, which this ceremony was set up for them, by them, had permission for a photographer, a videographer to be there to capture the moment, right? To film everything and take photographs, right? So maybe, just maybe, this Arlington National Cemetery staffer had no idea, or she was just Trump deranged and thought, oh, hang on, they're not supposed to be filming in here for political purposes, right? That's the linchpin of this whole thing, political purposes. So she tries to go and take the camera from them, says you can't film here. And she got shoved to the side for trying to take their film equipment, for crying out loud. That's what I think. I don't have any proof of this, once again, but you put all the pieces together. You put 2 with 2 over here and you get 4. The corporate press is putting 2 with 2 and getting 873,453. But we know, and this is another thing. I was going to go off on a different path just now, but this is another thing. We know, okay, let's also look at this to see who's more believable. We know the hoaxes that the corporate press has portrayed upon the Trump campaign for years. We know Russia, right? The Hunter Biden laptop story. There's just been, I don't know how many hoaxes. The good people on both sides hoax. The bloodbath hoax. The Russia hoax. Right? The Ukraine hoax. Right? With his first impeachment. right? The hoax that he was responsible, that he incited violence on January 6th, right? They kept repeating that over and over and over again until people just believe it. People outright believe these hoaxes. And it's insane. It's outright insane to me. So, now that we have one of these hoaxes actively unfolding, and the corporate press doesn't give you all the news. They don't give you all the facts. It is up to somebody like me to go in and actually look for this stuff, right? And I had to download Truth Social, right? I'm not a social media person, right? I don't get on X. I don't get on Truth Social, but I went and done that just because I can go there and reference stuff. That's where I got that letter from, as a matter of fact. That's where I got that from. I couldn't find it on any corporate press website. It might be out there. I just couldn't find it. Of course, I research kind of quickly because I don't have a whole hell of a lot of time sometimes. But from looking at all the evidence, who are we to believe? Are we to believe the corporate press because they don't give us anything really to go on except that a Trump staffer pushed Arlington National Cemetery staffer? Now, we know for a fact that people don't just go and shove other people for no apparent reason. No apparent reason whatsoever. We don't actually know that that person just got shoved out of nowhere. That's what the corporate press is trying to insinuate by not telling you the particular details of what was going on, right? If this person truly got shoved, wouldn't you think she would want to press charges against these people? I would think that. Now, that's not concrete proof, of course. Not at all, whatsoever. But given Stephen Chung's statement that she seemed clearly deranged, and the fact that there's a very good chance that she thought they were there for political purposes when they clearly weren't, even though, once again, like I said, to be fair, not, you can't say that's not going to play a political role. You can't say that. And if they do, they're lying outright. But they can get away with saying they weren't there for political reasons. That is absolutely truthful. They were asked to go there by the Gold Star families. We saw the letter thanking them, saying they acted with the utmost respect. Now, who are you going to believe, folks? Now, my little whole thing would, she come up, she's all deranged and blah, blah, blah. That might be a little bit hyperbolic. She might have actually been professional about it and said, give me had an altercation, say you can't film here. And they're like, we're not here for political purposes. And she's like, I don't care. Don't know, don't care. You can't film here. Give me the camera. And they said no. She tried to take it from them, and they took the camera, shoved her away. Get away from me. You can't take my camera. Who do you want to believe, folks? That's what I'm going to leave it up to you. Let me know down in the comments. That's all I got for this one, y'all. Hopefully, this was informative. I hope I did my job. I hope I came to do what I came to do. We came, we saw, they got debunked. That's all I'm going to say. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.